All right, folks, let's have a frank discussion about what's happening in our world. Ammunition prices are lower than they've been in a dog's age. I'm talking deals that feel like they're straight out of Time Machine, pre-panic by era. But here's the kicker. Nobody seems to be biting. Shelves are groaning under the weight of inventory. Warehouses are overflowing, and yet the demand has all but evaporated. So, the $1 million question is, why are gun owners suddenly keeping their wallets shut? What's up, gun community? This is your gun sidekick here. Today, we're going to dissect why ammunition sales have hit a brick wall in 2025, even when the prices on everything from 9mm Luger to 10mm auto and even that slick 327 Federal Magnum are practically screaming for you to build a fortress of brass. We're going to break down the hard numbers, the cultural shifts, and what this all means for dedicated shooters like us. Before we dive in, do me a solid and hit those buttons down below. Smash that subscribe button, give that notification bell a ring, and hell, just click all of them if you're feeling particularly supportive today. It's not mandatory, but every one of those clicks helps keep this channel running and allows me to bring you more top-tier content on everything that goes bang. Now, let's lock and load for today's deep dive. Just last week, I strolled in my local gun shop and laid my eyes on a mountain of 9mm Luger, clean, brass case blazer, boxed up and ready to go, for a mere 20 cents a round. This wasn't some holiday special. That's just the new normal. Right next to it, a brick of 22 long rifle for 5 cents a pop. The shelves were packed to the gills, no behind-the-counter nonsense, no purchase limits. It was just sitting there, collecting dust. 3 short years ago, that same shelf would have looked like it was hit by a swarm of locusts in under an hour. Here in 2025, we are experiencing the most affordable ammunition market in over a decade, particularly for high-volume practice rounds. Don't just take my word for it. Look at the data from the Black Basin Ammo Index. Their first quarter numbers were hovering around 38 out of 100, a staggering decline from the price gouging we endured back in 2021. Even heavier-hitting calibers like .223 Remington and .308 Winchester are consistently priced well below 50 cents per round for quality brass. And to be clear, this isn't a fire sale. This is a fundamental market correction. So what's the deal? Why is the buying frenzy ground to a halt? The shelves are overflowing with the ammo we all prayed for, but the customers are nowhere to be found. Walk into a gun store these days, and the silence is deafening. No mad dash to the ammo aisle. No shopping carts overflowing with Full Metal Jacket. The once lively buzz about new shipments and which calibers were inbound has been replaced by a chilling indifference, almost overnight. And that brings us to a much deeper issue. Maybe this isn't about the ammunition at all. Maybe it's about the people who used to line up to buy it. Let's talk about the crushing economic reality that is squeezing the firearm community. I vividly remember 2020 when ammunition vanished from shelves faster than a politician's promise. It didn't matter if you were at a big box retailer or a small town gun shop. Inventory was a ghost. The convergence of COVID lockdowns, widespread civil unrest, and a contentious election year created a perfect storm of panic. Demand hit the industry like a tidal wave. Over 8 million new gun owners entered the scene in that year alone. And these weren't folks buying a single box of 9mm. They were stockpiling as if the world was ending tomorrow. Manufacturers shifted into overdrive. Remington's Lone Oak plant roared back to life. Federal, Winchester, Hornady, every major player ramped up production, with some facilities running around the clock. But once the dust settled, a sobering reality emerged. Most people already had what they needed. And those new gun owners? They weren't accumulating ammo with the same fervor as us seasoned shooters. The boom went bust. Back orders transformed into warehouses full of unsold product. By 2023 and into this year, production had massively outstripped demand. Prices fell, and then they fell again. Now, in 2025, the shelves are finally full, but the urgency is gone. The industry is navigating a sluggish new normal, trying to find equilibrium without completely cratering the market. This leads us to the heart of the matter. It isn't just that the panic-driven demand has vanished. It's that shooters, both new and old, are facing a foe more formidable than an empty ammo shelf, crippling financial pressure. Go to almost any shooting range today, and you can feel it in the air. Not in the smell of cordite, but in the unnerving quiet. Fewer shooters, less gunfire. When you talk to the regulars, the story is always the same. Money is tight. That 20 cent per round 9mm Luger is meaningless when your credit card is maxed out and your grocery bill has jumped by 30%. That planned trip to the range? It gets pushed to next month. The latest economic data confirms this bleak picture. Consumer spending took a hit in May of 2025, and real disposable income dropped by 0.7% the month before. Meanwhile, national credit card debt has soared past $1 trillion. That isn't just a statistic. It's a story told by every box of ammo that sits unsold. Middle-income shooters, the backbone of the community who used to grab a case on a whim, are now exercising restraint. Nearly 3/4 of them are slashing non-essential spending, and more than half admit they couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency. A buddy of mine explained why he missed last weekend's steel challenge. Man, I needed new brake pads more than I needed to make brass on the ground. This isn't apathy, it's financial exhaustion. Wages are stagnant while interest rates are climbing. Ammunition might finally be affordable, but for many, it might as well be locked behind bulletproof glass. So prices are down, and shooters are feeling the pinch. But with the world in its current state of turmoil, you'd expect a certain level of urgency, right? That's the real surprise. Fear used to be the ultimate sales catalyst. Back in 2020, it was the trifecta of COVID, riots, and election year anxiety that emptied the shelves. Today, with major conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East dominating the headlines, the reaction from the gun community has been a collective shrug. Why? Because people are no longer in a state of panic. They're observing. They've seen this movie before. Those new buyers from 2020 are now experienced owners. Their gun safes are full. We're no longer trapped in the frantic cycle of buy it now or it's gone forever. The supply chain has stabilized, the shelves are stocked, and the panic has subsided. Even the gun shop owners I speak with confirm this trend. They saw no significant rush after the invasion of Ukraine. The same held true for the flare-ups in Gaza. People simply walked on by. This represents a profound cultural shift. Fear is no longer the primary driver of ammunition sales, and the shooting community is less reactive. That's a positive development, but it also means that slow sales won't be bailed out by another wave of panic buying. So if fear no longer moves ammo, what does? This is where the smarter, more deliberate shooter emerges. We're witnessing a paradigm shift in how people approach training. I've seen it firsthand. The same guys who used to burn through cases of ammo every election cycle are now meticulously counting their dry fire reps, not their live rounds. A good friend of mine dedicates weekly training sessions in his garage with a Glock 19 and a Mantis X system. He's not cutting corners. He's refining his draw, mastering trigger control, and becoming a better shooter without firing a single live round. And he's not an outlier. The market for dry fire tools, laser trainers, advanced airsoft replicas, and even sophisticated printable targets is booming. Shooters are optimizing their time and money without sacrificing skill development. Reloaders are also making a major comeback. A hand-loaded 9mm Luger round can be produced for about 14 cents if you have the equipment. Reusing your own brass saves even more. This isn't just about stockpiling anymore. It's about achieving precision, control, and efficiency. It's about building real skill with intelligent tools. The change is undeniable. We're not just shooting less, we're shooting smarter. Every round fired has a purpose. Every range session is planned. This new mindset is fundamentally reshaping the retail landscape. If shooters are no longer making impulse buys, then stores and manufacturers must adapt to meet their real-world needs: value, strategy, and budget-conscious performance. When every round is treated as a precious resource, reloading becomes a logical progression, not just a niche hobby. You can only practice dry fire for so long before you need the feedback of live ammunition. This is where reloading fills the gap. Lately, I've seen more and more people returning to the reloading bench. Guys I used to shoot USBSA with are now crafting their own match-grade ammunition to perfectly tune recoil and performance. Another friend of mine assembled an entire reloading setup from used equipment and now loads 9mm for about 14 cents per round. He hasn't purchased factory ammunition in over a year. For high-volume shooters, these savings are no longer a luxury. They're a necessity for survival. The market data reflects this shift. The global reloading equipment market was valued at $4.5 billion in 2023 and is projected to nearly double to almost $8 billion within the next decade. That kind of explosive growth isn't driven by nostalgia. It's driven by practicality. People want control over their ammunition, their expenses, and their training regimen. And retailers are taking notice. You're seeing more reloading components on the shelves, more bins of once-fired brass, and more conversations about powder and primer availability than about panic buying. The change isn't just happening at the consumer level. Manufacturers are paying close attention, too. To their credit, both retailers and manufacturers are adapting to this new reality. You don't have to look far to see the evidence. That same shelf that was once crammed with overpriced bulk 9mm is now home to progressive presses, digital powder scales, and reloading trays. This isn't a fire sale. It's a strategic pivot to meet the needs of a more discerning customer. Retailers are expanding their services. In my local area, gun shops are now offering scope mounting, custom AR builds, and assistance with National Firearms Act paperwork. The gunsmith benches are buzzing with activity again. While ammunition sales may be soft, the customers who are walking through the door are focused and invested, and the industry is responding with value-added services, not fear-based marketing. Manufacturers are also evolving. Hornady, Dillon, and RCBS are rolling out innovative gear that shooters actually want. More efficient progressive presses, precision digital powder tricklers, and improved priming systems. Ammunition companies are streamlining their product lines, trimming obscure calibers, and focusing on core rounds like 9mm Luger, 223 Remington, and 22 long rifle. They're not flooding the market, they're refining it. Even the big box chains are changing their tune. Lately, I've noticed more reloading equipment and components featured in their circulars than bulk discount promotions. That tells you everything you need to know about where the demand is shifting. And not everyone is shopping at traditional retail stores anymore. A growing number of shooters are bypassing them entirely, opting for gun shows or private transactions. And frankly, it makes perfect sense. Not long ago, I attended a gun show in Oklahoma that was absolutely packed. People had cash in hand, hunting for deals on brass, components, and bulk ammunition without the hassle of shipping fees or credit card trails. You'd be amazed at the number of clean, fair deals that go down across those folding tables. Factory 9mm, once-fired 223 Remington brass, even sealed crates of 7.62 by 9mm. All changing hands between people who know the true value of what they're buying. No shipping delays, no state-imposed purchase restrictions, no back orders. Just ammo, a handshake, and you're on your way. Gun shows have evolved, too. They're no longer just repositories for dusty surplus rifles and overpriced knives. Now, they're vibrant marketplaces with real inventory, reloading gear, factory loads, cast-lead bullets, and even specialty cartridges that the big stores won't carry. With over 5,000 gun shows held annually in the United States and attendance on the rise, it's clear that shooters are becoming more selective and agile in how they acquire their supplies. This shift away from traditional retail isn't an accident. It's a core component of the new ammo economy. Back in the day, stockpiling meant buying whatever you could find and stacking it to the rafters. I'll admit, I was guilty of it, buying cases whenever the shelves were full, not because I needed the ammo, but because I was afraid it would disappear again. Today, my approach is entirely different, and I'm not the only one. Most of the shooters I talk to no longer hoard blindly. They plan. One of my range buddies maintains 3 distinct levels of readiness: a supply of his everyday carry and home defense ammunition, a few thousand rounds for regular training and classes, and a sealed, long-term reserve for just-in-case scenarios. It's an organized, manageable system that doesn't decimate your bank account. Right now, with 9mm Luger hovering around 20 cents per round and 223 Remington not far behind, building a layered reserve like that is completely achievable. I track deals from brands I trust: Fiocchi, Blazer, even PMC, and buy in calculated batches, not in a frantic panic. Brass gets meticulously sorted and stored, even if I'm not planning to reload it immediately. Many of us are also blending calibers to make our stockpiles last longer, burning through inexpensive 22 long rifle for bulk drills, while reserving our 9mm and 380 auto for focused, high-value repetitions. This isn't about fear anymore. It's about utility. Round counts are important, but so are purpose and timing. With stable supply and smarter buyers, stocking up is no longer a race against the clock. It's about knowing your equipment, defining your goals, and shopping with intent. I've watched the ammunition world transform at a dizzying pace. One day, you couldn't find a single box of 9mm on any shelf. Now, I walk past pallets of it priced at 20 cents a round, and nobody even gives it a second glance. It's not that people have stopped caring. It's that we have fundamentally changed how we shoot. In the face of inflation, tighter budgets, and the rise of smarter training habits, shooters are becoming more deliberate. I've spoken with countless people at the range and online who now train with clear intention, stockpile with a defined purpose, and stretch every single dollar. Reloading benches are humming with activity again. Dry fire tools are more popular than ever. Gun shows and private deals have become vital channels for the flow of brass and bulk ammunition. We're no longer reacting to the market. We're strategically navigating it. Many shooters I know now maintain a layered reserve, a ready supply of their carry ammunition, a stock of practice rounds for regular use, and a sealed, long-term stash for emergencies. That's not panic. That's prudent strategy. The entire culture feels more disciplined, more focused. And the industry is taking note. Stores are adapting, factories are recalibrating, and the people who are showing up to buy today aren't just consumers, they're dedicated shooters. Which means, in a market where prices are stable and the shelves are full, the critical question is no longer how much you buy, it's how well you use it. So, if you're training smarter in 2025, know that you are far from alone. You're part of a growing movement of shooters who have learned to prioritize skill, value, and purpose over panic and impulse. And frankly, that's a positive development for all of us. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more content on all things guns and ammunition.